What is going on, everybody? If you don't know, now you do know. You're officially tuned in to another special edition of the HFWB podcast series. This is your host, Clifton Pope, and with me today, I have a very special woman who's just very talented in her own ways because she's her own independent certified health coach. She has a bunch of experience within the medical field that she'll definitely tell you about within herself. You don't know who I'm talking about by now, you should. Please welcome Miss Rachel Davis to the HFWB podcast series. Rachel, how's it going?
Hey, everybody. It's going amazing. It's a beautiful day here in San Antonio, Texas. And I just had tea with a hopefully soon to be business partner, and just going to call some clients later and check in on my people, and looking forward to Easter. So it's a great day.
Yes, it is, Rachel. It's a wonderful day. Fantastic. For those who are listening to the podcast, probably by the time this comes out, this will probably be a little bit after Easter. And I can tell you right now, me and Rachel definitely plan on having a wonderful Easter, spending time with the people we love and care about the most. And for those who are listening to this after Easter, I hope y'all did the same as well. But in the meantime, Rachel, for everyone who's listening to the podcast right now, give them a little bit of a background as far as where you're from and what it is that you do exactly.
Cool. So I was born in Houston, Texas, made my way to San Marcos, Texas for college. Didn't quite know what I wanted to do. I did psychology just kind of as a, get into something. But then I got into, so I love just people and the human mind and what makes people tick. And I knew I had some interesting ways that my thoughts were going. And, I think that's the beautiful thing about us is that we've all got a heart and a mind, and, we've got life experiences. So I love that, that whole dynamic and people. And but I switched to respiratory therapy. So I got a bachelor's in science and a major in respiratory care, which took me into being a respiratory therapist in the hospital. And so for about 3 years, I worked in pediatric and adult. My favorite was working with adults in the ICUs and turning knobs on ventilators and watching the doctors kind of do what they do, and the nutritionists and the physical therapists and the occupational therapists and the speech therapists. And I was just taking in all of this going on in the medical field, and I loved every bit of it. And I just craved to learn more and more and more, because as a respiratory therapist, I knew my role, and I went here. And so that started my intrigue with the human body and just helping people.
That's a wonderful experience, and it just goes to show you, Rachel, you basically been all around the place, got a little bit of this here, a little bit of this there. What would you say has been the best experience that helped shape you as far as your overall interest in the human body and in just helping people in general?
Well, there in the hospital, it interested me because I would read people's history and physical, and I picked up on the fact that a ton of the people in the hospital had diabetes, congestive heart failure, smoking history, alcohol use history, obesity. And so I started to just clue into these things that were showing up all the time. And I knew I had a lot of that in my family. I was a smoker at the time. I was working as a respiratory therapist in the hospital. So I started to get, and I couldn't seem to quit smoking. I seemed to get more and more stressed out as I went farther into my, I guess, young adult years. I was married, I was working, I was just eating and drinking all these things. And so I was kind of getting chubbier than I wanted to get. Me and smoking, when you're a respiratory therapist and you see how that ravages the body. So I'm working with people that I'm trying to help, and I'm experiencing some of the same unhealthy habits. So my wheels started turning, and I got out of the hospital setting, and I went eventually into home health and hospice, and started managing people and growing in my career. The more responsibility I took on in my career, the more unhealthy my coping ways got, because I'm a party girl and I like to be out with the people and talking and eating and drinking and smoking. And so that was kind of my thing for years.
Sociable, just be sociable. You just wanted to be sociable in your own way, so you kind of just blended in with the crowd and was like, hey, hi, that kind of thing, right?
And yeah, and it was good until it wasn't good.
Yeah, it has its moments when you start out, and then it's like, okay, it's time to do something different. I remember that's how I was whenever I was in my early to mid 20s, partying like every weekend with my three best friends I had at the time. And we had some great times, but we had some times where it's like, man, thank God we're still alive. That's just crazy within itself. But your overall
I hear
experience
you.
your overall experience with just like helping the people and everything and building that connection, where does that tie in as far as you becoming your own certified health coach, and where does this whole overall spark come from to begin with that made you want to do this?
Yeah. Um, so there I was in the corporate world in healthcare doing all that I knew to do, and, just trying to grow and earn more money and like just, take on more responsibility. And that was cool. And until it wasn't, because I had a baby and I got a divorce. And so some heartbreak. And just not knowing what was next, but just grinding it out as a single mom, trying to make trying to make some money, trying to prove that I could still be, everything, even though I had a failed marriage, and I lost a bunch of friends through that. I felt like I lost relationships because we were married couple friends, and then that wasn't the case anymore. So, but I got remarried, and I took a look at my life and how I was spending my time, and my habits and my coping with my stress. And my 5-year-old, he's now 10, was having some issues. And I was kind of like, I need to be a more present mom. And my newer husband said something that changed our life. And he was like, I support you leaving that job if that's what you want to do. I know you can do anything. So fast forward a couple months, I'm now done with this 12-year plus healthcare career. I don't know what my next is going to be. I was flying somewhere at the airport and I walked into the store to buy a neck pillow because I was also a couple months pregnant. So I'm
Yeah.
pregnant with next in my job. And I'm like, oh, hello. But I know I'm going to do something because I know myself and I've been working since I was 15 and doing the thing.
You're gonna find a way.
But I did, and I knew I wasn't going to go back to healthcare because I knew that the way that we do healthcare now, but that wasn't going to be how I was going to be a mom and a everything I wanted to be. So at the San Antonio airport, I walked up to a woman in the gift shop and I was like, hey, there's a 2 for $30 special on those neck pillows you're looking at. You want to go in to get the special? And she said, yeah. So we started talking and we walked to the same gate because we were both flying to Atlanta. Her name's Heather Hudson. She's a health coach. So she got on that airplane and I was like, hey, if you want to sit by me and keep on talking, save me a seat. So I walked on the airplane and she was like, hey. And I was like, hey. So I sat down next to her. And I was like, oh, cool. I mean, we covered boys, our sons both had similar kind of issues going on. So we connected and she started eating, a healthy protein bar. And I was like, cool. And she's like, you want to buy it? Yeah. So then we started talking about health. She lost 75 pounds. Her mom had lost 75 pounds. Her daughter lost 120 pounds. All their healthcare issues were going away. She's working with a doctor in San Antonio because this doctor is having Heather be the health coach for his patients. And I was like, huh, I have a career in healthcare that I just left. How do you do what you're doing? So she has mentored me, and we have to have mentors. We have to have people that have done what we want to do.
Yes.
I do it with my own flavor, but she showed me this is a program that works, girl. We cover 4 components. We give people a personal coach, a whole community of support, the education on how the body and the mind work so that people can be set up for long-term success, and nutrition. We got to teach people how to put the right kind of fuel in their body so this body can do what it does, because this miraculous body will do what it does if we don't block it up and junk it up.
Exactly.
So everything she spoke, I was just like, whoa. So that was the beginning of me opening my own coaching practice. Scared to death, not knowing what the heck that looked like, but knowing that I can trust myself because I've always followed through.
I want to give a special shout out in this case to Heather Hudson. If you're listening somewhere to the podcast series, thank you for inspiring Rachel Davis to doing what she does, because of that, it's like that chain reaction effect where she's even inspired me into eventually opening up my own program with the Hfwb program coming very, very soon. So Heather Hudson, wherever you are, we salute you for the inspiration and as far as helping people be guided into the right direction, just for, like you just alluded to, Rachel, better living. What would you say has been like the best experience you could think of as far as with your personal clients you've had as far as transforming their body in a healthier way?
Oh my gosh. I mean,
Think of one that sticks out to you to where it's like, this is what I was meant to do, if it's possible.
yeah, yeah. A couple in particular come to mind. One of my clients who was a referral from a woman that I friended on Facebook. So, I mean, Facebook is so powerful. Social media is so powerful for sharing a message that we have. And so this woman and I connected. And we, chatted from time to time. She sends me a private message on Facebook. My brother's trying to get healthy. He's not being successful. Would it be okay if I gave him your number? So we get on the phone and do a health assessment. He answers some questions that I have. We start dreaming for his future. He shares with me a little bit about his family dynamics and what he's doing to get healthy, but here he is with not the results that he's going for. So I know his drive is there. I know his desire for more in his life and his health are there. And that's the first thing that I'm looking for, right? Because I can ignite, but they got to keep, ignited and do the do. And so this guy proceeded to lose like 60 pounds in 5 months, because we just fine-tuned some things and got some habits on point. A lot of people really, really try with nutrition, but they're approaching it like less is better. Less is not better with nutrition. More nutrients is better.
More vitamins,
And
more
but
minerals, all that good stuff.
what's that?
No, I said more vitamins and more minerals, all that good stuff.
Which is not present in most food, that we're grabbing in America, because we're busy and we're stressed and we grab it from somewhere and we're not quite sure what.
So it doesn't, we don't have time and we're not even thinking about it. We're just thinking about putting something in our body and just keeping it moving.
Yeah, yeah. So through offering him just, more fine-tuned a plan, that's what happened, but I mean, his mind cleared up. He's now walking, more miles. He's doing a weight training regimen. He wants to be a dad someday. So that was one of his driving motivators, was just to be a more active dad, because his dad was an active dad. And he looked at his current health situation and was like, that's not what I'm going to be if I continue in this, going down this path. And so he was just amazing. And he has referred so many people from all over the country, and so it's like, I'm calling North Carolina, I'm calling California, I'm calling New Hampshire because of this one connection that went well. And that's that ripple effect. And we just, I love it. I love partnering with people. I love it.
It's like I always like to tell everyone who listens to the podcast, Rachel, it takes one person as far as telling someone that that way they can tell someone they know or they don't know, and it's just that ripple effect, and it just gets spread the movement like wildfire. And that's pretty much what you just demonstrated and what you just said, Rachel. And I truly appreciate you presenting that example as far as to what I've been saying this whole time. But if you had
success leaves clues. So you're leaving clues, I'm leaving clues, and we're just trying to inspire people.
It's just a breadcrumb trail. That's all it is. It's just a matter of whether you're going to pick up the bread and follow and see where it leads to. I agree for sure. But Rachel, if you had the opportunity to give like 3 off the top tips as far as someone who's looking for like inspiration on how they can get themselves healthy and just overall better living, who are having trouble, what would be your 3 go-to pieces of advice?
I think you have to dream. You have to dream for your future. You have to be bold enough to go there in your mind first. You have to use your imagination. You have to use your belief. You have to have faith. You have to create. We have to be in creation mode.
Yeah.
That's what a long-term adventure.
Yeah.
Our mindset has to be, how fabulous can I make my life? Because, I don't have anything that somebody else doesn't have. I've just got the grit, and I've made the decision that I'm going to do whatever it takes to create the life that Christ died for me to have. I'm very deeply convicted that Christ did not die so that I could have a ho-hum life. He died so that we could have life abundant. He died for each and every one of us. So, and there's nothing special about me except that I've just done some heart work and some hard work, but I'm not near done. But you have to dream. People leave that out. You're not going to make changes. Change is way too uncomfortable to do if you can't see a future that's better than your current reality. So dream. Get yourself a community of people that will lift you up and that are also doing the heart work and the hard work. Because if you don't have a community of other hearts and minds that are doing the work like you and fighting for their best life, you're going to be dragged in the wrong direction. I'm sorry, but I mean, I see it in my kids, my 3 sons. One of them displays some behavior and the other one does it right after him and the other one does it right after him. But when the good happens, they all fall in line with the good too. And I'm like, okay. And number 3, get yourself a plan and commit to the plan. Don't be looking for the easy way out. Don't be looking for the magic pill or the way that's fast, fun, and free. Look for the real deal, and you'll know it's the real deal because it makes you dig deep to find your commitment on the daily. But that takes me back to dream. You're not going to find your commitment if you don't know what dream you're committed to. So it all ends right here.
Sometimes, Rachel, all it takes is just a dream, the spark of vision, and then next thing you know, that vision becomes a plan. And all you just need is that right support system to where that plan becomes more of a reality. You've got people believing in something and believing in you. And that
you will have wins and celebrate every single win. Celebrate them early and often, because the joy is not in the destination. The joy is in the journey and in the saying that a girl, you did that hard thing that you didn't have to do, but look how it paid off. And you constantly get good at doing this, because we shame ourselves really well, and we have to break out of that if we're going to be on a journey to our best.
And it just comes down to one simple thing: is there more to it? As far as you got to sometimes ask yourself, is there more? That way you can find something to help keep you going and enjoying the journey as well. That's something I would definitely recommend as well. But overall, Rachel, I'm getting to the part where I basically like to ask everyone who I bring on like a certain list of questions just to kind of like get them to know who I have on the podcast, and that case being yourself. So I want to ask you this, Rachel. What is the first thing you do or think of every single morning that you wake up every single day?
I thank God for his goodness.
Amen. 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 That is the most important thing, is starting off your day with a prayer. I recommend everybody doing that. I currently do that still to this day. And just like Rachel just demonstrated, it's very, very important. So always start off the day with prayer. Yes, yes, indeed. Rachel, I want to also ask you this. What is your own personal definition of just health and healthy living in your own eyes from your own experiences?
Freedom to do what I choose to do. Freedom to pursue my best life.
That's a very, very unique answer. I like that. I like that. Also, Rachel, I want to ask you, as far as when you're not doing everything that it is that you're doing on a regular basis, what are some of your personal hobbies you like to enjoy?
Yoga, swimming in my backyard, playing with my boys at any of the playgrounds that are around here, being outside for sure. Going to lakes, traveling to go to like personal development seminars and events. And we're going to Seaside, Florida is our next one with Coach Michael Burt. I love to invest in myself and get out of my normal environment and go meet other big time people that are doing big time things and investing in themselves. And my armpits sweat the whole time that I'm talking to them, because I'm just like, like just learning and intimidated. But that's how I spend, the free time that I do make for myself. That's how I spend it. Not getting my nails done. I wish I could tell you I get my nails done, but they look terrible. Not shopping, not spending money I don't have.
I don't think that matters at this point, Rachel, because as long as you're staying productive with what you're doing in your life, I think you could hold off on that for a little bit. But at the same time, it doesn't hurt to treat yourself to that because you do deserve it for all your hard work now. But I understand you're too busy and you don't have time. I get it. I really do. It really does. But Rachel, I just have one last question for you before I wrap everything up here. If you had the opportunity to go back in time, say 10 years ago, and talk to yourself, what would you tell yourself? And where do you see yourself and where do you see your overall health coaching perspective and business going in the next 10 years?
Mm. I would go back and tell myself, you're doing amazing. You're
Mm,
doing amazing. Keep dreaming, girl. You're doing amazing. You can do hard things. Keep dreaming. You've got this. Enjoy the moment more. Enjoy the moment more, I would have told her.
don't change anything, just inspired to keep going. I like that. I
Yeah.
like.
And you're doing amazing.
And where would you say see yourself in the next 10 years as far as what you have going with your health coaching and everything going forward?
We're changing the world.
Mm,
We're changing the world one precious person at a time. And I need to keep ditching limiting beliefs about that I'm capable of leading people, to an uprising of just more self-awareness, more abundant mindsets, um, bigger dreams, giving people the freedom to dream, because if they're dreaming, they're not participating in habits of disease nearly as much. And they're on fire for what their life, can be in this short time we have on earth. And I see me and other business partners that come alongside of me and my husband in this, as just really leading a huge revival of health and wellness in people's body and in their mind and in their finances. And there's over 130 million people in this country that just have a physical and a physical need, and that's not even counting that people are lonely and broken in their mindset and just feeling hopeless. And we've got to do what we can to turn that around and empower more for people who are desiring more.
we are simply all going through our own personal struggle and our own personal battle every single day, whether it's a physical battle, whether it's a mental battle, whether it's a emotional and spiritual battle as far as deep as that can get. And like you just alluded to, a financial battle. We're all going through a battle, but it's a matter of just uplifting everybody through that battle to where they can come on top and be victorious. Be the victor, not the victim, and you'll be a part of the healing revolution. That's best well said as far as I can say it, that's for sure. But Rachel, for everyone who's listening to the HFWB podcast series right now, let them know how they can get in contact with you and let them know how they can get in contact with your health coaching business and everything. For those who are interested, of course.
Yes. Rachel Davis / San Antonio. If you type that into Facebook, you'll find the redhead in the square, and you can friend me there. And then I'm on Instagram, Rachel Davis 0228. And my cell phone number is 210-254-2960. Feel free to text me. And yeah, those are the ways to get in touch with me. And I hope that this inspired, at least one person to dream and to ditch limiting beliefs, because we all have thoughts, and our thoughts are not us though, but we start assigning meaning to these thoughts, and then we can get stuck. And that's why it's so important to stay connected with people who are staying in truth and working hard to pursue their dreams.
Exactly. And with that being said, I definitely want to end the podcast by taking what you said personally to say it to the people here on the HFWB podcast series, where I say, bloom where you planted, uproot when necessary. Don't be afraid to enter those higher waters because you are safe. In the words of Miss Rachel Davis herself, and I want to thank you once again, Rachel, for being on the HFWB podcast series. I truly appreciate it. It means a lot.
My pleasure. It was awesome. Thank you, Clifton, for being you.
Of course, I appreciate that, Rachel. And for those who were listening to the HFWB podcast series, this is your host, Clifton Pope. I encourage everybody to stay healthy, wealthy, and blessed. Until next time, everybody, y'all take care.